You may remember a time on YouTube when YouTube was ran by a different type of business advice guide than it's ran by today. Now, you may know me as the most woke empty house business advice guy, but I don't want to lie. I don't want to act like a saint. I was a part of this type of business advice guy group, and this was the Full House Business Advice Guy group. Back in the day, these Full House business advice guys, they would lure people in with their extremely full houses full of couches, television sets, and in some cases, fish ponds.
Fish, they're all under here. This is where I read, I like to read a book and stuff like that.
And using their very luxurious fish ponds, private jets, and cars, they would create mass amounts of attention and hysteria for their form of business advice. Just people would line up for the miles, for great lengths of distance, to see their business advice on stage. They would come on stage with fireworks and give business advice. And it was thought till the end of time that showmanship and private jets and fancy cars and fish ponds were the way that businesses were built. And then one man decided to stand up. He said, no, I don't like avocado toast. No, I don't want to pay extra money on my car insurance. No, those 0.001% credit card fees are not acceptable. This man was Stephan. He stood up and he ended this era in one foul swoop from his duplex. And he took down the era of full business, expensive business advice guys and brought forth the era of not expensive, reasonable life business advice guys. Yes, Stephan is the #1 most acceptable, reasonable business advice guy on YouTube, and I'd like to discuss him in this video. Okay, guys, so let me just make my point. I'm looking at Graham's last video that aired 5 days ago, just a pretty average video, 631K views. If you take Gary Vee's last video from 5 days ago, 100K views, Grant Cardone's highest in the last week, 37K views, Ty Lopez's 11K views, and Dan Locke's 21K views, you don't even have half of one guy sitting in a duplex talking about business and money and finances. And I gotta tell you, it's just funny to me. There's 3 lessons you should really take away from this, and that's basically what I want to talk about in this video. And those 3 things are, first off, why it worked and how Graham did this. And I don't think he masterminded this, but it's the ebb and flow of how popular opinion and attention goes. 2, why I think it's a really good thing overall. And then 3, what you can learn from it. So first off, how did Graham do this just from my point of view? It's really simple. So first off, views and attentions are not bank statements. So I'm not saying that in this video at all. However, if we go look at Stephan and all of his actually real subscribers on his channel, and then you look at all the marketers and all the gurus who are screaming and posting on Instagram and going nuts and just doing anything to get attention, it's really, really, really clear what people prefer and what type of advice and help they actually relate to and are actually getting benefit from. While other people are, they have camera crews following around, they're taking all these professional videos, they're doing all this nutty stuff, they're putting private jets behind them. Graham's just sitting in his duplex, which from what his videos I've dug into, costs him like $0 a month, and brags about his lifestyle. It costs him like $200 a month. I'm just quoting. He has videos where he breaks it all down. It's extremely cheap. And people relate to this more because it's actually helpful, it's actually relatable, and they can actually get immediate benefit from it. And it's just really funny because people realize they're like, we've been watching the Kardashians, this isn't helpful, this isn't helping. And simply by being normal, Graham completely wiped out everybody who's trying to be something that they're not. There were these year periods where it's just everyone was obsessed with people giving big business advice and flashy stuff. And it's really kind of just so, you could just see it in the numbers, what a bad taste that left in so many people's mouths. You can also see that with rise of channels like CoffeeZilla's channels, which is blowing up right now. And it really showed that in a time period where there was so much hyperbole and let's just say not authenticity, for lack of better words, that just being authentic, super honest, and realistic was the way to go. And what Graham did that was really special is when everybody was going this way, I don't think he masterminded this, he was just over here being himself. And as more and more people got kind of put off over here, or like moved over here. And I think this is a really good thing overall, because in my opinion, during that time period, being an entrepreneur was like sexy. It was like being a rapper or something like that. And I don't think everyone's cut out to be an entrepreneur. And I'm not saying that like not everyone's cut out to be a Jedi like me. I'm not saying at all. Not everyone's cut out to be an accountant. Not everyone's set up to be not everyone's set up to be a UFC fighter. Not everyone is set to be a cook. Everybody's different, and entrepreneurs are a very specific type of person, and they're not the only type of people to make money on earth. I'm not saying you have to be successful to be an entrepreneur. But in this time period, everyone's being told they can be an entrepreneur from people who just talk about. And in this time period, everyone was being told they should be an entrepreneur. And it was really kind of the rise of Instagram and social media and influencers in the first place. And so everybody saw this as like, this is what an entrepreneur is. And then over about a period of 3 years, when people were all looking at this and following this stuff, and like none of it really, everyone was just kind of clueless still after 3 years. Like, what the hell is actually going on here? People kind of said, whoa, I'm going to go back to the basics. And I frankly think if a person is able to learn how to manage their finances and invest successfully, that's way more beneficial. And people learned this, hopped into it, and it was way, way, way more beneficial for them. And so Graham, literally, there's this big ball of polarization right here that was spitting people out left in general, and he just collected all of them. I think it's just really funny. And the thing you should really take away from this, to wrap this all up, is that there's a video that I watched from Jason Cohen, who I interviewed, I would say like 3 or 4 weeks ago. His company at least must be valued at $1 billion by now. And he made a video that the best way to stand out in a marketplace of hyperbole, and if you look at like almost every form of marketing, I'm not saying anyone's lying, I'm not going after anyone right here. If you look at any form of marketing when it comes to like even fruit juice, for example, it says 100% natural, and then you look on the back and it has like natural flavors that are all like red number 5 and stuff like that. Lying is almost just the default in marketing these days. Everybody says best thing ever created in their titles, most important. If you look at people's Facebook career listings right there, they have like 15 different jobs: investor, council person, Senate member, like just ridiculous titles all in there when they don't even own a successful business. And in a world of hyperbole, the number one way to stand out is just to be extremely honest. And Jason, one thing he pointed out in this is that people that actually left their bad reviews under their products on Amazon and on their websites, I think Canon did this with their cameras. They actually left their bad reviews on cameras. They actually did significantly more sales, don't quote me, but like 2x more sales than they did before. And so what you should take away from this is that avoiding being flashy and being very straight up with who you are, what you do, and what you don't do is perhaps the number one way to stand out long-term in marketing. As you've seen, Graham's views has gone do, 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 and everybody else's views have go do, 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 do. So they start off with this massive sun-like attention polarization, and then it didn't keep anyone long-term. But you can see right here the slow burn that Graham did works significantly better. And so, long story short, I think Graham's really cool, but this is also a video just kind of like what you can learn from it. If you look at this right here, a lot of people when they get in the business, they're pressured to do all sorts of hyperbole, all sorts of flash, make crazy claims. What you should really be focusing on, and what's actually helped my business and marketing more, is being just straight up about what you do and what you don't do, and being very, very clear of what you can do. Because when you do that, you can communicate with the people that you want to sell to, and you can actually help so much better, and you can keep their attention for a long time and keep them interacting with your business for a long, long time. That's it. That's all I really got. Just some interesting thoughts I had on this. If you like videos like this, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, because I give away all my old courses that I used to sell and a post every single week that I keep up for 3 to 4 hours. If you want to see that post and get the algorithm to show it to you, you got to really tell the algorithm to show it to you by hitting like, notification bell, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.
Trigger